Boxing aficionados, what's up? What's going on? Hey, yo, check this out. I just want to make this video and dedicate it to commenting on the Erislandy, Lara, Danny Garcia fiasco. And why I feel so compelled to make this video is because, in essence, that fight is a referendum, in my opinion, is a referendum on PBC as a whole. And not just for that instance, not just in the now, in their current state, but looking back for, I must say, almost 20 years of PBC. If you add in their Golden Boy years, where really Golden Boy is the entity, the boxing promotional company that gave birth to Danny Garcia and Erislandy, Lara, and all these now PBC fighters, right? And what I mean by a referendum on the PBC is that, you know, for many, many years, certainly on the onset of PBC as a brand, one would get labeled a hater if you were in any way, shape, or form critical of their fighters. If you were in any way, shape, or form critical of their business practices. If you were in any way, shape, or form critical of the matchmaking at PBC. And, you know, why I feel it's a referendum on PBC is precisely because so many of, and I'll say of us critics of PBC have been vindicated. For our views on what PBC was and what it was going to become. I mean, think about this. If you look at the PBC roster, from the Laras to the Danny Garcias to the Sean Porters to the, you know, Spence, Wilder, you'd be hard pressed to find someone who is worthy of Hall of Fame mention, who's worthy of being considered a great of the boxing boxing history. You know, there's no historical perspective to any PBC or historically significant perspective to any PBC fighters. None of them have become legends. None of them. None of them. Who comes close? None. And they certainly don't have legendary fights. Does PBC have legendary fights? Fights that you want to, you know, rewatch? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't think so. Put it to you this way. When Showtime, their main carrier of PBC over the last years, right? When Showtime wanted to put on vintage fights during the pandemic, right? When they started digging in the crates and putting on vintage fights during the pandemic to provide programming, whose fights were they pulling out? They were, for the most part, top-ranked fighters, top-ranked fights. They were, for the most part, fights that took place for really Golden Boy promotion fights, and I don't even remember them putting that much. But certainly, they were not PBC fighters, and none of them included a vintage fight of a Danny Garcia outing or a Sean Paul. You know, none of them. They have no classics, man. And I it shocked me that some of these boxing scribes actually were reporting this fight to be between Lara and Danny Garcia as a segue to Canastota for the winner. That's what they were painting this fight as, you know. And granted that if the fight would have been an exciting one, a fight of the year candidate, then perhaps, you know, it could have washed the stench of the rest of their careers. And they say, oh, well, this was a great fight, you know, it should be considered for Hall of Fame. But they couldn't even get that together. At the end of the day, they are who they are. They stunk out their place because their whole careers stunk. They come from an ilk, a PBC ilk, a PBC legacy that stinks. And I'm surprised that, you know, I'm just looking at YouTube subscribers, like amount of YouTube subscribers that different entities have. Like I was shocked that Golden Boy only has 500 and something thousand YouTube subscribers to their channel, to the Golden Boy channel. I'm shocked that that Matchroom also is way below. They're worse than Golden Boy as far as subscription to their YouTube channel. I looked at PBC's and it's 2.33 million subscribers. Top Rank has 2.85 million subscribers. And I was like, wow, like PBC is has a really big presence in the sport, especially on the American side. But it's based on nothing. I mean, it's really based on nothing. I can understand why Top Rank would have the numbers that it has, 2.8 million. I mean, they've been around 60 years. They have a slew of historical fights, and I mean, you could tell the pandemic, ESPN was fine. They just, you know, kept playing Top Rank fights as far as, you know, providing programming through the pandemic. And they had one of the biggest nights of the pandemic when I think the Ali Foreman, which was a Bob Arum production, right? So they had the optimal presence during the pandemic, you know. PBC couldn't provide that, but I'm swaying off my point. My point is that after almost 20 years of PBC, they can't produce a Hall of Fame fighter. Is it Deontay Wilder? I argue that Deontay Wilder may be the lone Hall of Famer of the PBC. Why? Because despite any criticism that you can have of his career and the, you know, or how it's turned out, I mean, he dominated the heavyweight division, quote unquote, dominated the heavyweight division, was champion for over 5 years, had, I think, 25 something straight knockouts or something like that. He's gonna go down as one of the hardest punchers in the history of boxing. That's nothing to sneeze at. That puts you in the category of the Foremans, of the Shavers, of you know, Tyson's. He's gonna be mentioned amongst those people, and rightfully so. He's got spectacular knockouts. The quality of fighter that he is suffers. Errol Spence, is he a Hall of Famer? He had 3 of the welterweight belts. problem with Errol Spence is that the people that he fought within the PBC sphere, none of them are Hall of Famers. None of them provided him a historically unforgettable fight of the year type thing. It takes two to tango. The fights are each fighter needs a nemesis. You know, Canelo has Triple G. Manny had Barreras. He had Morales. He had Floyd. He got, you know. You know, you name it, Bud had Spence. But when they got in the ring, you saw what happened. That fight also was a referendum on PBC. And it's turned out that every time that PBC fighters meet someone out of their sphere, their little bubble, they get not only exposed, they get demolished. Demolished. I'm talking about obliterated. Like they don't even belong in the ring with the fighter, their opponent. It's like they fought in their bubble and degraded their bubble, and then when they fight somebody that comes from some other promotional company who is of name, who is of equal aplomb, who has you know, they get starched, as if to say, like, bro, you're a big star in your little pond, but when you come over into the ocean, you're nothing but a guppy. You're a big whale in your pond, but in the ocean, you're a guppy. And that's what PBC seems to me. It's like a referendum of the PBC. And this Erislandy, Lara, Danny Garcia fight being booed, being a snooze fest, being what it was, Danny Garcia quitting on his stool, his father throwing in the towel in a fight in which his opponent hardly threw punches. Like, dig that. The father had to throw in the towel in a fight where his son's opponent hardly threw any punches. Now, how the fuck did that happen? How do you not go 12 rounds in a snooze fest? How do you not go 12 rounds in a nothing fight like that? I mean, I could tell if the guy's beating your ass for 5 and he's throwing a lot of punches and dinging you up, but when he's just outboxing you and making you look stupid and just kind of like taking it easy, and he still gets you to quit. Wow. I'm telling you, man. And Erislandy Lara himself, he comes a victor. Who does he beat in 160? And I know that everybody's critical of 160 because there's not the most exciting division, that's for sure. The names aren't worth mentioning except for you know, the Dominican kid and Alejandra. That would be a good fight. But what does Erislandy Lara do? You know, I believe he gets beat in any unification he takes part in. You know, I would like him to unify against his stablemate, Adames, and then maybe the winner gets Alejandra if Alejandra, you know, makes weight again at 160, which was a terrible look for him, by the way. I mean, the only thing that he has going for him is that he has 2 belts and now you can't even make weight. Come on, man. It's horrible. Horrible look for him. But if he does, I I certainly believe that him against the winner of Lara versus Adames in an undisputed unification, a fight at 160, you know, would be a great look. It would be a great addition to Turkey Al-Akhshi, the Sheik's Riyadh season series. I would love to see a fight like that. Maybe not even headlining. Maybe it'd be on the undercard of a bigger fight, you know. By the way, Alim Khanalai blew his opportunity by not making weight, because that might have been precisely what would have happened by the end of the year. Maybe in December, he could have been added to an undercard involving Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, you know. But it is what it is. He blew his opportunity. Anyway, that's enough for me. What you saw from Erislandy, Lara, and Danny Garcia told a very, very big story. The entire story of the PBC in one fight. That's it. When I think of PBC, I think of that fight. That's what they've been. The fights that I've seen on PBC that were good fights, I believe Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter was a good fight and should have gotten a rematch. I believe Sean Porter won that fight. And they didn't capitalize. That's the other thing. The PBC never really understood how to capitalize on the good fights and good matches that they did have. How you do that, how you make stars or superstars within your own ranks, is that you come up and do a rematch when it's appropriate. And Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter deserved an immediate rematch, because it was a fight that was compelling and had its exciting points, and it was controversial, in my opinion, a lot of people's opinion, as to who the winner really was. But they didn't do it, probably because Keith Thurman didn't want that fight. I know Sean Porter wanted it. Anyway, it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. This is Next Level Boxing Talk, signing off. Peace, I'm out.